Do you ever consider with a cup of tea, maybe a little piece of cake, maybe you go to a coffee shop, but do you ever sit and as you sip your beverage and have your morning tea or afternoon cake, think about purpose? Does your life have a specific purpose? Or enjoyment can be a person's specific purpose for life. All they want to do is party. But as you get older, your specifics, your purposes tend to change. And now you're probably questioning older age, being mobile, your mobility, probably things on your mind change or are added to what they used to be. People that maybe surround you unavoidably talk about negative things, and that because you can't remove yourself from such an environment, you start to be bombarded with the same thoughts in your mind. So what's really happened over the years is that perhaps you've neglected yourself. You've neglected yourself, the broadness, the path to think for yourself, because others ideas seem to click. And maybe that is the way you wanted life for yourself. But is that really living then? If you can't find a purpose and you just continue on other people's thoughts, and act accordingly, it's not a fulfilled, satisfying thought of your own. When someone you know or someone in your circle of social friends perhaps dies, there's a lot of that going on. It's like oven heats. When I think of athletics, they have heats, heat 1, heat 2, heat 3. So death is just like that these days. It seems to have lost its pace and its value for living. You may hear the same chant, same things said, same scriptures said, same mantras repeated at the funeral service, but it doesn't click in because you go away thinking, well, this is what's going to happen to me. Why bother? And what the whole purpose of that service talk, each time you may have heard it, could have actually passed your mind in your understanding of it. The cycle of rebirth, it's all related to karma. You can't basically it can't be believed that once a person dies, they automatically join another body or another realm. Okay, because the cycle of life is connected to a person's karma or karma, and that karma has laws of attraction of its own. So if a person dies, is a scripture, can he live again? Was a question a very fine Oriental man had asked God. His name was Job. He said, if I die, can I live again? So maybe you are not in a position to actually answer for yourself. You will need guidance by someone who is concrete on their beliefs and understands what is being conveyed to them through a book. Because anyone can interpret, but coming from the heart is a total mindset that probably only 1% possess. So when something is said from the heart, it carries more weight. It sinks in or stays in a person's mind longer. When a young person starts to talk about death, there's something very wrong in the mind psychology, in that they are showing that they're on a stopping to receive life-giving guidance or life-giving messages. Even seeing beauty in creation when you go out each day. How's your garden if you have a garden? If you don't have any flowers, is it in a well kept position? Or maybe you can do something to the grass, pull out weeds or something. But when you start to disconnect with the energy of life and head towards inclinations of death, the laws of karma start to break away. Why? Because when you are living, you are pulling in consciousness, rightness, doing right or doing wrong. But when you start to move your thoughts towards death, karma will also move its steps away and break, in that seeing the decision is decided what you want in your life. But here's the thing, in between then, it's not really understood by people, the appreciation that death, is it inviting you or is it just a state of non-existence anymore? So has death received you? And that will also stick into the thought of karma and the cosmic energy. So all your hopes now rest with that particular phase in space, because if it's yours, it will connect with you. Doesn't matter what you have said, as long as it is in a magnetic altitude or latitude, it will come and find you. However, as I was saying, it's not usually the total death of a person, it's the way a person dies. And that is overlooked by many people. When one gets sick, that I need to see the doctor is the first thing that should come to mind, or I should do something to take care of my health. Because you can't stand it. It's too painful or it's too frustrating, and it stops you from doing things that you could normally do. Perhaps go for a walk or enjoy the sunshine. Um, so neglecting values in life is also, on the other side, values neglecting your physical space. Uh, when you see lights, what should one should be thinking about? I would suggest festival, perhaps, good comings. Um, but see, this is where family values should hold the key, because a family makes, or a family can break. So if you don't have your family's guidance and your family's support in what you are doing, then you basically face things alone. And unless you have that friend you can lean on and call them your best friend, um, as I was saying, it's a very a lonely place and a pace, pardon me, in your life or in any person's life, even if I think about it. Now, God, no matter where you read, has put a certain time indefinite in every person's heart. It's engraved, which is why there is medication, which is why there are professionals who can assist one in a correct path, how to think. Um, time indefinite means prolonging your life, living a fruitful life, not a sour life, as one would say. Everybody goes through sweet and sour or bittersweet, but the foods one eats also ignites the hormones and which triggers your glands in your brain, and then suddenly you're thinking differently. Um, do seek guidance, but when you read or watch something, a show, watch it with feel, because you need to understand what you are viewing. In the end, the question is not that a person dies, but does death receive the person completely? Namaste.